Welcome back to Vlog Views. I'm Robert Schwartz of DS Simon Productions DC office, and we are here with two men who really know how to manage the client and agency experience. I'm here with Robert Udowitz and Steve Drake of RFP Associates. They just finished up their session on exactly that, how to manage PR, clients and agency experience. Tell me a little bit about, Steve, what you guys focused on in your session today.
Well, really, Robert, what we focused on was the fact that, an agency-client relationship is not unlike any other kind of relationship. There's a beginning when everybody is sort of taken with each other, and then the marriage needs to last and go on. And so we talked a little bit about, once that initial honeymoon period is over, what are some of the issues that agencies typically have with their clients and vice versa? What are some of the typical problems that are sort of noted by clients of their agencies? So we took a look at, what both sides have problems with each other, and then we offered a list of approximately 10, from the client perspective at least, 10 areas where clients could really work on maintaining and, in fact, improving the relationship with their agencies.
We also emphasized that everything starts with the RFP. When a client looks to hire an agency, they have to really pay attention and stick to a process that includes really creating a scope of work, accurately budgeting, and giving it the time to identify the correct agencies that can respond to their RFP and to potentially give them the work that they require.
Let's take this step by step. So let's look at first the agencies and their view on clients. What type of tips can you offer maybe someone at mid, small, big agency just got their new client, they're excited, managing the relationship with that new client? What are some of those tips that you would offer?
Well, I think there are a lot of tips, but I think a lot of them, Robert, are wrapped up in one overall suggestion, which is make sure that you and the client see and understand fully the scope of work before you really get into the program, or as you get into the program. Ideally, a client will have that sort of delineated out, but to the extent that they don't, or that they haven't gone through the RFP process properly, as Robert talked about, then I think it's incumbent on the agency to make sure that they sit down early with their client and say, okay, we understand that this is our scope of work. We understand that there might be some deviations from that, but this is what you've hired us to do. So I think from the agency perspective, that's the most important thing.
And now let's also look at from the client perspective, going towards the agency. What type of tips in a similar situation can you offer?
Well, clients should be prepared to understand what the relationship is going to be with their agency. They need to understand and recognize that they have to give them the attention that they require in order to get their job done. So that includes giving them access to their staff and to maybe senior level people in their departments, and also includes really giving them the attention that they need in terms of project timelines and really reviewing the work that they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
You have anything to add to that?
No, although I would just add that, an agency really is an extension of a staff. And so if, you read management books, in order to be a good boss or a good supervisor, you need to, sort of have that 360-degree review. So I would say to a client, with respect to their relationship with their agency, yes, you want to keep that agency accountable for the scope of work we talked about a few minutes ago. But likewise, you want to occasionally sit down with your agency and say, how am I doing? As a client, how am I doing? And again, we go back to sort of the marriage analogy. Everyone who is married needs to work on that marriage. There's always going to be bumps in the road. But if there's really that two-way communication and understanding, and both parties sort of contribute to that, ultimately we believe that that's what makes for a good client-agency relationship. And frankly, those relationships are very expensive to maintain, but they're even more expensive when they go south. And so our advice is, if there is a problem or a bump in the road, work to fix it as opposed to summarily firing your agency.
We like to emphasize that hiring an agency is like hiring several staff members. So if you don't devote the time up front and the energy and the due diligence, then essentially you could be setting yourself up for really dissatisfaction with your agency-client relationship.
You heard it here first. Some great tips for managing the client and agency relationship. I'm Robert Schwartz of DS Simon Productions, signing off for vlogviews.com.